Hello, viewers of Two Sides to the Coin. Very good afternoon. Well, this is the 25th episode, and I was traveling and I didn't have enough time to work on my next topic. So I thought I'll do a live on the topic that we kind of covered in the last episode, and also because it is something that I'm not done with. I have a lot of anger, I have a lot of issues in my mind, as we are talking about the rapes on minor children that are happening in this country. We touched upon a few aspects the last time when I was with my friend Arfa, who spoke about how the politics is being played over cases of rape, and we highlighted the Katwa and Unnao case. And now we know that so many other instances have happened ever since. There was a case in Surat, there was a case in Indore of a 4-month-old baby sexually violated. So I'm not done with discussing this issue, therefore I want to talk about it a little bit more detail with all of you. And this time it is not an episode of two sides. There can be no two sides to it. The brutality committed on little children in this country, that is so rampant. And viewers, I'm going to tell you about statistics this time. I have the NCRB data of 2016 that was released in 2017. And as per this data, in 2015, 10,854 cases of rape on minors were reported. In 2016, it went up to 19,765, 82% increase. The highest cases reported from Madhya Pradesh. After that comes Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh and Odisha. Incidentally, in Uttar Pradesh in the year 2015, from the year 2015 to 2016, these cases have tripled in number. So that's the kind of staggering statistics that we are talking about. I want to focus on few of those human aspects. The brutality, the bestiality of the crime, if you look at the Katwa case in particular, is so acute that one can't even imagine that you're dealing with human beings. These are cannibals in human form, these individuals who commit such crimes, sexually violating an 8-year-old girl. And in the other cases as well, the brutality aspect is something that doesn't allow some of us to sleep at night once we have read through the details of it all. So I want to sort of ask this question, that is it enough if we have laws of a civilized nation for these brutes? Because they are not humans. How can human law apply to them? There is a very severe case of perversion that has afflicted these individuals. And therefore I feel that you might strengthen the law, you might make it a harsher punishment. Will it deter these brutes? Will a cheetah refrain from pouncing on a deer because of a law? Because I feel that these are animals. The animal instinct in them is so acute that they don't spare young children. So the aspect of bringing in stricter laws to deter these crimes, does that help? And I want to understand from all of you. You can always respond, you can talk to me, tell me about it, because we have to start this discourse and we have to start it now. And there's so many other issues that really needs a lot of thought in this, because very hurriedly an amendment has been made, and rapes against child rapists have been will now be sentenced to death penalty. That amendment in POCSO Act has been made. So some quick decisions have been taken, but we need to sit back and really think. The second aspect I want to talk about is the way rape has been used as a tool by communities, by individuals, I beg your pardon, to terrorize communities. That is a trend that has emerged now. There is a pattern now that, it's not just an act of sexual violence on a woman. It is actually being used as a tool, sometimes as a political tool, to terrorize another community. Now, if you look at that pattern once again, this is an extremely dangerous precedent, something that has to be stopped in its ranks, because it is gathering momentum. Gang rapes are happening more often than not. A bunch of people get together and violate the modesty of a woman. It's not always, a sexual crime anymore. There is an agenda, a political agenda. how do we correct, how do we address that? And the polarization that we are talking about today has made it so acute, which means that if one of us has raped one of you, it is almost being justified as okay because you have done far greater crimes on us. That level of justifying rape has also started, if you notice, viewers. And these are the things that disturb us the most today in this country. Making stricter laws, the outrage on the streets, everything all right. But how do you address the issue for what it is? Are we looking the other way? Are we really addressing the core problem for what it is? The other aspect, this is the fourth point I'm making, the aspect about why some rapes get attention and some don't. My friend Joy Bora is watching. He's a musician from Assam, a very popular one. There is a post that he has written on Facebook, and I want to sort of read out some portions of it, because it did shake me and it did wake me up. He says, when will the national media look this way? Rapes in Assam is what he's talking about. That's his hashtag. While India and the world looks at horror and disbelief at the Kathua rape and murder, there is a whole new level of violence that has unleashed upon minor girls in Assam. They have been raped, brutalized, burnt alive. Seems like we have regressed to medieval times of horror. And in capitals, he says, how dare they? So this is a very, very angry post, understandably so, by somebody who loves his state, loves his people. And the question that was asked to me also is that why does the national media never focus on the other instances that are happening all across? Now, viewers, again, one rape happening every half an hour in this country. It's true that the media attention goes to those cases which are closer to the epicenter, closer to Delhi, Bombay. There are Asifas happening, Nirbhayas happening every half an hour in some corner or the other in this country. Lot of it goes unreported. It's true that media reports cases which has political ramifications, which has high-profile people involved, or simply which comes into the notice because of the proximity to the headquarters. But I think that is not just the point. It's not about which cases get attention and which does not. We have to rise above that, and we have to make those course corrections which is necessary in our country. And yes, why certain cases are important to highlight also because there is exploitation of position of power. So those cases obviously become very big news. So we can't blame the media for covering the Unnao and for not covering another rape which does not have a powerful person involved, because somewhere we need to break those shackles as well. We need to question the high and the mighty, and that's what the media does. That is the one reason why the Unnao case got so much prominence, because there was a person in a position of power exploiting his position to sexually violate a young minor girl of his village. So those are the concerns. But in the larger picture, we got to look at this case. I'm not done discussing this topic. Today, I think a couple of days back, the channel where I work for, we reported this story about how in a school textbook, there is a chapter on puberty, on sex education, and it is set in that same chapter a certain advisory for girls to cover themselves up, to dress appropriately, to sit appropriately in order to not draw undue attention to themselves and to their bodies. So that is the mindset, viewers. This is coming from educators. So what are you trying to say? That women have to cover themselves, they have to close themselves up in their homes, they have to sit appropriately, because the boys are on the free run. Because it is almost like saying that if you get raped, somewhere you might have invited it by the way you sat, by the way you dressed. So therefore, to avert such a thing, women are being advised to cover up, to dress up. Now, 8-year-old girl, was she dressed inappropriately? A 4-year-old baby, was the baby sitting inappropriately? Think about it. This kind of mindset that is being preached, that is being taught in schools, somewhere we have to correct this. Otherwise, it's like saying the boys will do what they do. Girls, please be careful. It's on you to make sure that you don't get raped. That is the message, and unless we correct that, we cannot move further in this. And a lot of other aspects as well that we can talk about. I mean, of course, the various issues that exist today have to be addressed. Again, like I said, the highest cases of minor rapes is in the state of Madhya Pradesh. So today the education minister has come out and said that the reason what he has researched in Madhya Pradesh, this is today's news, is that there is a proliferation of pornography through internet, through smartphones. And that is also, I think, another aspect we need to talk about, that it is true that access to pornographic material, the titillation that goes on with it, with the spreading of WhatsApp messages, pornographic content, the proliferation of that has really, I think, given ideas to young minds. Because think about it, pedophilia exists in this world, but when you make it so accessible, when you can see it in your smartphone, think about a young impressionable guy. He perhaps thinks that this is a done thing. He perhaps looks at it as entertainment at a young, impressionable, formative age. When you're exposed to this kind of pornographic content, which is so easily accessible now because of our smartphones, because of our easy access to internet, is that another reason why there are minors raping minors today? In all these cases, right from Nirbhaya, viewers, you must be aware that there are minors involved, juveniles involved. I hope I've covered some of the important aspects of these cases of minor rapes that are happening in India. And rape, by the way, I feel is a very small word for the kind of bestiality that is going on. Rape is sex without consent. Rape is happening perhaps in every second home where there is marital rape, where a husband is, imposing himself on his wife without consent. This level of bestiality, where a man tears into the body of a woman, outraging her modesty, this is not just rape. It is something far more heinous than that. There should be some other word for it. And the range also, we must not miss out, because there are rapes and there are rapes. There are rapes that are being done as a political agenda, as a tool, which I said is the most disturbing thing right now. And we must not just put everything under the same bracket. That is another thing that is extremely important for us to understand what is going on, the level and the degree and the kind of rapes that are happening. Because sometimes we miss the wood for the trees. We as a nation are being afflicted with this disease now, and we must be aware of it. Unless we diagnose it properly, how are we even going to treat this disease? It's not enough to just treat the symptoms. We should not miss the wood for the trees. That's my message. I hope I was able to highlight some of the things that have been disturbing me, and I hope we start this discourse, and I hope we start the course correction somewhere in all seriousness. Thanks for watching Two Sides to the Coin.